What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. Today we're going to be exploring the countryside of Prattville, Alabama. We're west of Prattville in a very nice subdivision here. We're going to take a look here at the subdivision. So this is kind of to the west of Prattville. If you've ever wondered what the crap is in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, well, what is out there in the middle of nowhere in Alabama? Basically, lots of stuff is out in the middle of nowhere in Alabama. Lots of new houses too. It might surprise you. Right to the right off the screen were about 10 kids playing baseball. Lots of kids out and about. This is a beautiful community. Looks like a great place to live. This is Otago County, and we're just outside of Prattville. It's really a Prattville address. You would think there wouldn't be anything in the middle of these woods. When you look at a GPS and so on, what's out in the middle of nowhere? What's out there in the middle of nowhere in Alabama? You might think, probably nothing of interest. Surprisingly, there's a lot going on here, from people playing outside with their kids and people playing baseball and people driving around in golf carts. This is a great community. So there are great places in Alabama, kind of in the middle of nowhere to be exact, because this isn't really, it's not like this is in a map, or you're not gonna this is just randomly in the middle of nowhere, really. It's just like, if you looked at this on a map, you'd think, this is probably a few old trailers here and there. You might think that's what's out here, but in reality, there's some nice communities out here. So don't ever judge a book by its cover. You might wonder what is in the middle of nowhere. And it's hot today. We just got through with the coldest, worstest part of the year. Now we're moving into a better part of the year. And I am in the pickup truck, so there's a little bit of shake on the camera. Don't mind that. A little bit of camera shake, so don't mind the camera shake. We're kind of in a work truck now, so the camera's not going to be as still as it is in the work truck, in the SUV. We're not in the luxury SUV right now. We're in the work truck. So back up here, I got the trailer behind me. As you guys can probably imagine, I'm working today. That's why we're in the work truck. I don't like to work on Sundays, but this person needs, they're moving or something, or I don't know what they got going on. They needed my help in this community out here, so I have to kind of come through for them. And it's hard to find people to work in these rural places, so that's a good thing. Good thing for me to have work, and a good thing for them to have this crap taken out of here. But yeah, I mean, Prattville, middle of nowhere, rural places. You would think that there's nothing out here. Maybe a few old trailers. That's what I thought when they sent me the address. I was like, probably nothing out there. I'd be surprised. There's communities out here in Alabama. Lots of retired people. A large percentage of my customers are retired military. So that's a very common thing out here. Suburban Alabama, baby. I mean, rural. I know this is kind of rural suburban Alabama. Great communities out here in the middle of nowhere, to be exact, to the west of Prattville. Let's get up out of here and I'll show you guys what it's like out here. And it's not spring yet. This is still the ugly part of the year. We're gonna get pretty here soon. Alabama's beautiful in the summer. In fact, isn't there even a song? This is called Point Comfort. Point with an E at the end. Point Comfort, established in 1840. So this is actually I guess there's a few really old houses in there. So this is, if you've ever wondered what's in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, yeah, it may not be as country, or I don't know what. Ooh, beautiful creek with clear water. People waving waving at us. Yeah, in case you've ever wondered what's it like in the middle. Oh, donkeys. They got 2 donkeys there. What's it like in the middle of nowhere in Alabama? This is it. Right here. New houses on big pieces of land. There's a foundation there to a very old house. I guess they tore it down. But the foundation's still there. I guess the wood went bad and it just left the foundation. Fireplace and all that. You'll see that a lot. But this is what it's like being out. And again, this is not the nice time of the year. When it's spring here in Alabama and summer full on, it's gorgeous out here. When I first came to Alabama, I was only in Alabama 2 days in the year 2016. And I fell in love with Alabama. To where when we sold our house in Florida, I told Katie, you know what? Let's just live our dream. Like, we've been wanting out. Like, we were only in Alabama like 2 days. And it was enough for us to know that we wanted to be here. That's all we needed. 2 days in Alabama. And four years passed. And on Ottawa 27, 4 years passed, and we saw our house in Florida, and I was like, Katie, there's nothing in Florida on the market. We wanted to stay in Florida, but there's nothing reasonable on the market. In Alabama, it was loaded with options. I mean, you could have got, like, there were like 60 houses for under $100,000. And then we had saved all over Alabama. And if I could go back and do it, the only thing I would change is I would want to be further into the woods. I was afraid because I'm coming from the city to be away from my Starbucks. By the way, talking about Starbucks, sip a little bit here. On the way over here, we stopped by Starbucks. More donkeys, more cows. I got my Starbucks on the way over here. On the way over here, I got Starbucks before I went to work. So this isn't like, man, there's some houses here. I wish I could rotate the camera and show you guys. Look at the size of these houses back in there. They are massive houses back in there. Big houses in here. Look at that wall right there. Oh, it's not a wall, it's like a tree that fell. I just saw the red clay, I thought it was a wall. Yeah, it didn't take much exploring Alabama for us to know this is what we wanted. This house on the left has a huge lake. And I think there's somebody fishing on it right now. There's like some kids over there fishing on the lake. It's not like when I went to rural Kentucky and we saw like 12-year-old kids picking tobacco. That was wild. Rural Kentucky. 12-year-old kids, like little kids, like just children basically, out on the field picking tobacco leaves. This is about 10 years ago. I wasn't recently. I wouldn't doubt that still happens on rural Kentucky though. It's hot. I hope my iPhone doesn't catch fire. I'm really worried about my iPhone's heating up in the summer here. Beautiful, beautiful places. Look at this. Big lawns, big houses. Let me try to give you guys a side view so you can better appreciate the size of these properties. Big properties. We're talking, you know, we're talking land out here, man. These are some big properties. Rural Alabama, you don't want to honk the horn. You just gotta wait. You gotta do the respectful thing out here. You can't be all. Sometimes it's not easy to have Sometimes it's not easy having sometimes Southern hospitality takes a little bit of patience. You don't want to be rude. Never ever want to honk the horn or get close to cars or anything like that. You really gotta be respectful out here. You're not in New York City out here, so that's one lesson that you have. If you're considering moving to Alabama, you absolutely have to learn this. This is not New York City. You don't honk your horn at people. If they wanted to sit there for 3 minutes talking, you wait 3 minutes for them to finish talking. You absolutely do not honk your horn at people. You absolutely do not rush people. So learn that about Alabama. This is not New York City. You absolutely have to learn that about living in Alabama. Just so you know. If you're coming from a big city, this ain't a big city out here. You know? The rules of the South are the rules of the South. So if you're coming from a big place, think twice before you move to some rural country place like this. Because this is not New York City out here. It's a really cool place to live. It's an amazing place to live. As you can see, very family-friendly place. Kids are all having fun. This is a very wholesome place to be. You know? But you do not want to come to a country place like this with your rude big city attitude. So if I was from a big city, I would have honked the horn at them and said, "Yeah, I'm nowhere." You probably don't want to do that here. Just so you know. That's the one thing about Alabama. It's not for everybody. If you come from a big city, you really need to be observant on how it is out here, how you're supposed to act, the way you're supposed to behave, what's right, what's wrong, because this is not a big city out here. I wish I could show you guys better what some of the better properties look like, but too many of the bigger properties are kind of along major roads and they're kind of off to the side. You can't really see. The best properties are kind of hard to see where they're at. I think that's really the biggest thing about Alabama is you got to know how to behave. You know, because if you're coming from a big city up north and you move to rural Alabama, eventually you're not gonna understand a lot of the things that you are allowed to do and you're not allowed to do as far as behavior. I mean, you can be a big city jerk if you want to, but it's not going to get you very far. But I love it though. Like, the respect and decency is one thing that I love about rural Alabama is that, you know what I mean? That's one thing I love about rural Alabama. Respect and dignity, you know? Nobody's going to rush you. Nobody's going to honk the horn at you, you know? I love it. But again, it's not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. I think now we're on 14. Pretty sure we're on 14 now. And we're heading east now towards Prattville. So I think in something like 15-20 minutes we'll be in Prattville. Prattville's straight ahead of us. There's a sign here that says police jurisdiction. So I guess the police jurisdiction of Prattville Police extends to about right here. You can see there's a little bit of litter on the side of the road here. Not uncommon for rural Alabama. Sadly, because it's a beautiful place. Not sure how somebody could litter in a place like this, but at least to me it's beautiful. And wait till the spring comes. All through these woods, now as you head into Prattville, these mobile home parks are like, there's nicer communities like that where you can tell they're nicer areas. But then you got, coming into Prattville, you got some trailer parks in here. And I worked in these trailer parks a few times already. And it's basically needle land, you know? The land of needles. and diapers and empty bottles, and you get what I'm saying? So while it's still really nice around here, far outside of Prattville, once you get a little bit closer to Prattville, at least on the south side, there's a lot of mobile home parks. And why would I tell you it's nice when it really hasn't? The places I've worked in, it just seemed like kind of the homeland of junkies. I cleaned up some properties and it was very disturbing. Needles and glass artifacts that were cracked, stuff like that, you know. Okay, so there's the Prattville Airport. There's a Big Bass tackle shop right here. Bait and tackle store. Dry Branch. So in here we come closer into Prattville now, and like I said, some of these more rural mobile home parks on the outskirts of Prattville are a little bit rough from when I worked. At least the ones that I worked in seemed really rough. But once you get far out enough into the woods, then it turns into suburbs again. So, I mean, like everywhere, you got good parts and you got, you know, little sketchier areas. So you just have to find the area that fits your needs best. That's all. There's good areas, and looks like they're going to build another development right there. They're clearing a lot right there, maybe for a development or something. But yeah, the trailer, I was actually surprised at the trailer park that I worked at right around here somewhere. There's one trailer parks on the outskirts here. And I was actually surprised at some of the things I saw in the garbage. There's a lot of little kind of rougher rural areas. More like what you would expect in rural Alabama. But again, there are nice areas too. It just depends on the particular area. So to the untrained eye, it would be easy to make a mistake out here and buy a house in a place that you think looks great in the country, but then when you move into it, this is kind of like North Florida around here, you know? It's kind of like that type of place. One thing that sucks about Prattville, once you get closer to that paper mill, is you can start to smell it in some areas. Not everywhere in Prattville, but in some areas you can smell it. That's one thing to look out for in Prattville. But, all right, Prattville city limits. Now we're in city limits here. And I'm going to let you guys go. As you would imagine, there's going to be a Dollar General right outside the city limits. Please subscribe. Dollar General, a place to buy the LIQUORs. The drink. I drank a little bit. Let's see what street we got here. Montgomery's this way. What street is this? This 82? 82. There's a Family Dollar over there. But now we're in Prattville, in the southern outskirts of Prattville, and that is a drive through the rural parts of Prattville. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to stop this video exactly at 19 minutes, just to give you guys a round number there on the video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and join us for more trips throughout the South. Georgia's coming soon, baby. Georgia's coming.